Hello there. Let's get into your markets news now. The Absa Purchasing Managers Index dropped to 44.7 points in April this year, down from 48.7 in March. This indicates a sixth consecutive month of contraction in the country's factory activity. Survey respondents cite uncertainty linked to global trade tensions and local politics. According to Absa Global, tariff developments and local political uncertainty likely weighed on sentiment. Respondents noted weaker demand and growing uncertainty linked to global tariffs, local politics and heavy rainfall affecting production. The index tracking expected business conditions in 6 months fell sharply by 9.4%, and the business activity index dropped as well, reflecting sluggish output in response to softer demand conditions. The new sales orders also plunged significantly so. Both domestic and export demand weakened, with the export index falling back into contractionary territory. Andiswa Nondudule is the Absa CIB Economist, and she joins us now virtually. Andiswa, thank you so much for your time and welcome to SABC News. We're beginning to see the impact of these trade tariffs in this latest print. What is most concerning for the purchasers managers that were surveyed?
So I think if you look at the underlying indices that make up the PMI, I think what was most disappointing for us was to see sort of the drop in business activity as well as new sales orders. We also saw continued weakness in employment as well. So I think if you look at the new sales orders, so that's a result of sort of the weak demand that we're seeing. There's also, a lot of uncertainty, as you've already touched on, given what's happening with global trade, with the tariffs, the uncertainty surrounding that. So that has affected demand.
Under unpredictable weather patterns is something that was quite surprising, but it's something that lives with us. They're so erratic. And you also saw those weighing on sentiment. Can you perhaps expand on this, on what the surveyed respondents had to say about it?
Yeah, so the sort of the excessive rains that we saw during the month of April did affect sort of your production levels. So some manufacturers did state that it was quite sort of a disruption in terms of their production. But I think another factor that affected productivity levels within the month was the number of public holidays that we have in April did affect productivity.
Yeah. The logistics issue with regards to, the issues with Transnet and the ports, while they have abated somewhat, but I'm sure that they have not completely dissipated. We've also seen load shedding rearing its ugly head once again every now and then. Is this something that still concerns manufacturers?
Yes, definitely. So it's one of the things that you've cited, that the sort of the brief return in load shedding are some of the things that's sort of worrying them. And then in terms of the supply chain disruptions, you also saw that in the supplier lead times increasing in April. So this increased despite sort of the weakness that you saw in demand as well as productivity. So which tells you that there are some bottlenecks within the supply chain.
There is a very important meeting that's due to take place between the US and China with regards to this trade war. And hopefully, they could find each other with regards to the 145%. The worst case scenario of this trade war and its impact on local manufacturers, what could potentially go wrong?
So I think in terms of numbers, I don't have specific numbers in terms of how it will sort of translate. But obviously, we do a lot of trading with the US. It's one of South Africa's largest trading partners. So I think what happens between sort of us and the US does affect the manufacturing sector. But I think South Africa will probably look to other markets should sort of our trade with the US fall away in terms of the tariffs. So we'll look at other markets to sort of push our exports through.
Andiswa, thank you so much. We're hoping that that PMI in the next coming months will at least begin to pick up at least to that 50 basis points level. But thank you for your time. Andiswa Nondudule is an economist at Absa CIB, and she was giving us the latest with regards to the PMI numbers that came out earlier today.